I don't need a full suspension bike. Look, just try it. No, the trails in the series that I'm gonna do this year are not hard enough to dictate needing a new bicycle, plus my hardtail is gonna be lighter. Okay, for starters, the Squish is the same weight as your hardtail, so that's a non-point. Second though, it's not about how hard the trail is. Everybody knows you can ride everything around here on a hardtail. It is about keeping traction and getting power to the ground when it is needed. Exactly, and a full suspension bike will not be as stiff. Oh my God, you're an idiot. Fine, will you at least try it for me? You're always complaining that people are knocking stuff before they actually try the product out, so you've not even raced a 29XC full suspension bike before, so why don't you give it a shot? This is short track, come on. Fine, let's get it set up. I'll try it for one race. High five. So yes, I decided to forego the hardtail for the finale of the winter short track series. Don't mind my voice. I am back to having some sniffles after having the flu. Dear God, this sucks. So my weapon of choice is the Orbea Oiz M30. This is a beautiful bicycle. It does have 100 mil of travel in the front, 90 in the rear. It is a 29er. It's SLX XT build. It's got the step cast fork on the front from Fox, and it has a dual lockout on it, which I loved. Didn't think I'd be a big fan of that, but I used it a lot. So I really thought this was going to be a good opportunity since I had 4 races on hardtail. This final race is going to be a full suspension. After we run through the race, we'll compare some lap times and I'll give my thoughts. Let's just get into the race. I'll walk through the race and I'll give my thoughts on it. It was a good one. So this is actually kind of comedic, so I didn't really change much. Keith has ridden this bicycle before me, and he had the XTR pedals on it. I've just been running the M540s. They're pretty cheap Shimano pedals. I really like the XTRs better. For some reason, I could get into them way easier. He just said I need to stop copying him. The start of this race, I know I've been complaining that I never get a good start. As soon as they said go, I was bam, in the pedals, super happy with my start. I spoke too soon because the cycling gods came down and smote me.
Guys ready, go!
So basically, I came unclipped with the right pedal because these XTRs are a little worn out, or my cleats are worn out. Something was worn out. I got maybe 4 pedal strokes in, came unclipped, landed on the top tube. Thank God I didn't take out half the field because that would have been embarrassing. So all in all, with the little kerfuffle there, I still ended up like 7th in the woods. It's not as good as I was hoping for, but it's not terrible. So I kept my cool. As soon as I saw there was an opening to take the A-line and there was a little gap, I hammered it, and I thought it was way easier on the full suspension bike to do the A-line. Way easier. It gains about a position too. So on the second lap, this is where the action really starts to happen. This was actually a pretty good race. So I'm not 100% sure what happened here. I just know that as I came out of the woods, I saw Dan and Trey. They were off playing in the woods for some reason. I didn't get to see exactly what happened. It looks like Trey's rear wheel maybe lost some traction or something. I don't really know. I just know that they got T-boned into each other. And as soon as that happened, I guess it was Colin that was pulling right here. He was on the dang gas. So I clawed my way to the lead group. And then as soon as we hit the pavement, it kind of slowed down a little bit. The group was still chasing. Dan and Trey didn't lose that much time. They got back on their bikes pretty dang quick, and there had to be 5 of them chasing us. Coming out onto the gravel on lap 3. I knew I had enough to jump over Ben here and latch onto the back of Colin and Sean, but like right here, I second guessed myself and I go, well, Ben's beat me every single time, so I'm like, I'm just gonna let Ben pull. I figured he would get back on. Here the gap stayed the same, so I said I really need to start doing something, helping. So I tell Ben, jump on my wheel, and we bridge across. Colin and Sean were slowing down at this point, so I just went around them and figured I would pull for a lap. And once I pulled for a lap, I said I was done pulling. So we all looked to our left here. The group was still closing it down to us. I think at this point too, Ben had popped off, so he was either in no man's land or he was riding with Dan and Trey and the group of those guys.
Way to go!
So I pretty much rode the A-line relatively clean, except for 2 times. This was one of the times I kind of muffed it up pretty bad here. And this is when Dan and Trey caught back up to us. So Trey at this point sitting on my wheel, Dan's pulling on the front. We are now a group of 5. So at this point in the race, I'm thinking, wow, I feel great. I wasn't labored at all. I'd only hit the red zone once, maybe. So I was happy. I was happy with how I feel. Sean puts in a dig, goes around everybody to be first in the woods. It's always great to be the first person into the woods because if you screw up, everyone else is screwing up behind you. But my plan was to follow Dan and Colin. They were racing for the overall series points, so I knew if one of them attacked, the other one would have to close it down, and that was really my game plan for the rest of the race.
There you go, Cam.
Come on, Cameron. Take it. Get up there, buddy.
You got one coming.
Dan puts a dig in here, and just like I said, I knew Colin would more than likely close it down. You can't let that go. This is Dan sitting on the front here, and he puts in a pretty good dig. It caught me off guard a little bit, so when the gap started opening up, I had to close it down quick. So Colin, again, closing it down. I just jump on his wheel and hope for the best. Then, the finale, the final lap. So at this point, we know it is just going to be us four, because Trey actually had gotten dropped the previous lap. We're kind of slowing down this final lap. We're just kind of saving energy. We know it's going to be a sprint to the line. As fate would have it, when things got hot and heavy, I screwed up. So I was third going into the A line, which is good. Colin took B, Dan took the A. I had a little gap so I could hit it as hard as I wanted, and I unclipped my right foot. I don't know if it was just because I suck or what, but I came unclipped here. I could not get clipped back in until I hit the top and hit the gravel. Like right here, I'm clipped in. So out of the saddle I go. I start to catch up to Sean. Once I catch up to Sean, I still feel good. And I think for a split second, like I just need to go around and try and catch up to the other two, maybe race for the win. You know, you're thinking all these things super quick. So I realize if I do that, Sean will probably be on my wheel, I'll drag him with me, and then I'm probably going to be gassed and I won't even get on the podium. And this is kind of the first time in this series that I'm maybe going to get on the podium, so I decide to just ride it in, fight for third.
Gonna take the win. Daniel Schreiber is good job, buddy.
Come on, Cameron! Go, Cameron!
Good job, boys!
Go, go!
Go, Yellow!
And there you have it, guys. Third place. If you look at my previous results, so we won't really go into too big a detail with it because my first probably 2 races, I think I was still kind of getting over the flu. My third and fourth race, I felt great. I felt fine. I was on the hardtail and I got like 12th and 10th respectively. You know, not bad, but not great. This time I felt very good on the bike. So if we just take a look at what matters, the lap times and the overall elapsed time between these 2 races, it's pretty substantial. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I think I was feeling good. So when you're up there with the lead group like that, they are gonna be pulling harder because everyone's racing for the win. So when you've got 5 guys riding hard, you are gonna go faster on the gravel. That's why I think it also felt a little easier once I was there. But I still don't think that constitutes as much of an improvement as it did, because at the end of the day, I was consistently finishing around 10th place. I might move up a little bit, you know, I might be in 12th, somewhere around there. This time though, I completely flip-flopped and I was up there for, you know, top 5 like I initially wanted to. So yeah, my first few laps, I always did decent, you know, 4:15, 4:19. Then I would usually start to fall apart once I would lose contact with that lead group, and I would hover right around 4:30. That was where I was pretty consistent for all of the races. Once I hopped on this full squishy, that changed though, because you know I still did the normal, the 4:15, 4:12, 4:17. My slowest lap was lap 5. That was where I had the biggest bobble on the A line and I had to put a foot down and kind of waddle my way up. But then the rest of the laps were sub 4:20s, and that's pretty good. I was very happy with my lap times. And then if you look at overall elapsed time, for 10 laps, it took me 42:36 on the full suspension bike. And then when I was racing my hardtail to do 10 laps, it took me 44:31, so that's almost a 2-minute gap. That's pretty substantial over 1 week. I didn't gain that much fitness in 1 week. I could be more rested, I agree, but I think the bike helped me stay in that lead group. But the biggest difference, in my opinion, the full suspension bike, it's just more forgiving, and it also keeps the rear tire on the ground. My hardtail, every time I'd hit that A-line, the rear end would catch a rock somewhere. Those rocks are very, very polished, and I would slip. I would go to try and put more power down to get up and over it, and just, I'd slip, put a foot down, and that's the gap that was needed to pop me off from the lead group. Every time it was the A-line that screwed me. With the full suspension though, I could pedal up at 5 miles an hour and I could still get up and over everything. I didn't have to have the momentum that I initially needed or that I thought I needed with a hardtail. I've seen people blister this course on hardtails. I'm saying this in relation to me and my ability. Full suspension is the way to go. I'm gonna get a new one. I'm gonna get a new full suspension. I'm sold. Let's do it. Let's get one before race season. Alright, see you guys.
Good job, bro.